What's up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Victor Cruz Acting Studio Podcast. And I have a very special guest in the house today. This brother right here is not only an amazing friend, an adopted brother pretty soon. He is an FDNY Lieutenant Firefighter for the past 20 plus years.
That's right.
And before that, he had pursued acting and modeling. He took sort of a break getting into the life of a firefighter, but now he is hitting it hard as an actor. Please welcome to the show my very good friend and brother, Mario Polit.
Victor Cruz. Thank you, brother. Thank you for having us. Hello, everybody out there. What's going on?
Dude, welcome to the show finally. I've been thinking about you for the longest. I've had you on a list of people that I want to bring on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from just being just an amazing human being and a great friend and brother, I'm so glad to have you. Man, 20 plus years.
Yeah, 20 plus years ago.
So when you say 20 plus, what's the exact number?
20 and a half.
20 and a half.
Yeah, I got on May of 1999. May 9th, 1999. 999.
You partied like it was 1999?
Yeah, I was partying like it was 1999. Yeah, that was fast.
So 20 and a half years, right? 20 and a half. What is the point of when a person like yourself could retire?
I could retire now if I want.
You could?
Yeah, because when I joined the department, it was tier 2, which was 20 years you could retire. Now it's a little longer. Now it's different. I think the new guys have to do either 22 and a half years.
Okay.
Or whatever certain number they have to reach. But I can retire now if I want. But the goal is to do another 4. I like to get to 25. 25 is like a magic number for me.
Gotcha.
It would make me 56, 25 years old in the fire department, and then I would pursue the acting full time.
You look great, man. You don't look like, I mean, how old are you now?
51.
51. You don't look 51 at all.
Yeah, 52 in 2 weeks.
Wow. Well, happy early birthday.
Thank you.
By the time folks see this episode, you will be.
Oh, yeah, it'll be my birthday month.
It'll be your birthday month.
Yeah,
That's right.
January 13th.
January 13th.
Yeah.
What does that fall on?
This week, I think it falls on a Monday.
It falls on a Monday?
I'm going out on a Friday.
Okay.
January 10th. Oh, I'll celebrate the whole month like I always do, you know?
So let's start a little bit from the beginning. Let's cover where you're from and let's talk about when you got into acting. Sure. But talk to me about where you're from. Okay,
so I'm born and raised in Queens, New York, Middle Village. My parents were both first generation. I'm first generation here, but they're from Ecuador. My mother was from Quito, raised in Guayaquil. My father was from Manabit, Bahia. And they came here in the 60s and stayed. And I'm the youngest of 4 of my siblings.
You're the baby.
I'm the baby. I'm still the baby. My mother still calls me her baby.
But if you stand next to your siblings, physically, you don't look like you're the baby.
I'm the tallest one.
You're the tallest one.
Yeah, I'm the tallest one. And in my early 20s, my older brother, who actually is the reason why I do a lot of things I do in my life. He's like a mentor for me, my brother Jose. He's the one that suggested that I take the fire department test. And he's also the one that I saw him in a play that he was doing. He was going to Lee Strasberg for 3 years, never told anybody in the family, said to me to take my mom to see this play that his friends was in, and that it was a great play. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm a stage manager, but you and mommy will love this play. So we go see this play, and lo and behold, my brother's on stage.
Wow.
Had the lead in the play, looked back in anger. I was blown away that it was him. Then I forgot it was him. And by the time he was done, I got bit by the bug, and I'm like, I want to do that.
Wow.
And that's what clicked for me. He stopped doing it, and I continued. But
so you get bit by the bug. You're inspired by your brother.
Yep.
What's the first step to becoming an actor?
I said, he goes, if you're serious about this, Mario, I would definitely start looking into acting classes. You know, he suggested HB Studios, which was like less expensive than Lee Strasberg was. And I did. I ordered a class the following week. I saw what it was about. I joined, and I started taking scene study, movement, monologue, and the rest is history. I fell in love with it, you know.
So what was the first step for you? You're in acting school. You're learning the technique.
So yeah, I'm learning.
What was the first steps for you?
I'm learning the technique. I'm watching everybody every week. I think it was 5 weeks in. I wasn't doing anything. I was working on the monologue. by Patrick Shanley, Look Back in Anger, because it's a tough guy monologue. And, 23, I was the tough guy. Anyway, so I'll never forget my teacher, Jeffrey Owens, from The Cosby Show. He was my teacher. And he looks at me and he goes, hey, so when are you going to bring something in? And I go, next week. And he goes, okay, because it's like riding a bike. You got to get up and fall and get back on and fall before you get it. You're not just going to learn by watching people. You got to do it. And I'm like, I will. And that was the first time that I was like, okay, he's right.
Yeah. So you were a tough guy back then, but you were not so tough to get up and do something?
Yeah, no. Early in high school, actually, I took a public speaking class.
Okay.
And that was the first time I got in front of my classroom. And I was nervous, obviously, but I was telling just a story of my summer and about a movie I saw. And I remember getting the feeling of like I had control of the room. I was making people laugh. Yeah. And I'm like, I kind of like this. Yeah. So I kind of like I have a problem speaking in public. Right. But so that class helped me build the self-confidence I needed to be public speaking. And then the film, same thing with acting, what captivates me about acting is the storytelling, and I like being a storyteller. Yeah, I mean, my beginning of my career, I was all the positive Hispanic roles: drug dealer, prison inmate, car thief, rapist, and now that I'm in my older years, I'm playing more of a detective, FBI, cop, fireman. So
that's right. That's really right.
Roles now.
What was your first audition, if you could remember?
My first audition was The Devil's Own with Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt. The first one I got. Right. How about that? My first audition was Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt, 1995. Alexa Fogel. And it was a featured extra. So she's like, you're going to have to run, and there's some chase scenes between you and Harrison Ford. I didn't have a line, but I threw a line in the movie. When I find the gun, I said the word, oh shit. And I don't know if because of that, it ended up being like a 3-day film set for like a 30-second clip. I think it's not even that. It's like a minute. I'm just running on the street. But because of that, I became SAG eligible. Wow. After many doing extras in the back, guiding light, a lot of under fives. And then same agent or my manager back then got me a commercial for Snickers. And it was a must join. I had to join. Otherwise, I couldn't do this commercial. And that's how I got my SAG card. I borrowed money from my brother, my mother. I don't know how much it was, but I had like $600.
Whatever it was back then, it was expensive back then.
It was expensive
because now I think to join is like it's either $3,000,
it's like $3,000, $3,500, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So to join us is expensive, but back then it was still expensive.
Back then it was $1,500, but it was still
expensive.
That's right.
That's about what I paid when I had to join. It was like 14 something or whatever it was. That commercial that you did, The Small World, because one of my closest friends is in that commercial.
Oh shit.
That's that football Snickers commercial where everybody's like yelling stuff out.
Yeah, well, we're going to go sleep down. We're going to go sleep. We're going to go lay down.
We're going to play video games. Video games. Yeah. So my buddy's the one that's like, video games.
That's great. That's a commercial.
Small world, man. Small world. So now you've got this stuff under your belt now. You're starting to build up your resume. Yeah. What's the next... what's next for you after that? Yeah,
well, I mean, for any actors getting started out there, because I'm getting a lot of people now asking me, hey, I want to be an actor. I've been at this for 28 years, but I always tell people, if you really want to be an actor, you pick up Backstage Magazine. There's all these non-union audition informations in the back of that. Look into student films, NYU films, Columbia University films. You're not going to get paid, but you're going to get a reel. You're going to get a clip of your scene. They're going to feed you, maybe transportation, and that's how you start slowly building your reel, your resume, and then eventually once you have that, then you pitch it to an agent. People have agents and managers. I mean, I only have an agent. Right. I think about having a manager now, but yeah, and then you go on auditions, and if you're the type they're looking for, and you have the timing works out great, right? That you're available to do it, and you have a little talent, you're gonna get the part.
Yeah. So you've got the stuff under your belt now. At what point do you land the role on The Sopranos? You recently done the Sopranos con, right?
Yeah, that was a trip.
And you were probably one of the most hated characters.
I was the most hated character.
I got
booed on stage
at that event.
Yeah.
Tell the folks.
Which was really great because that means I did a good job because they hated me, you know?
Now, what character did you play on The Sopranos? Because it's a very famous moment.
It's one episode, but it's the title of the episode is Employee of the Month. And I play the Employee of the Month, AKA Jesus Rossi, who assaults Dr. Melfi and gets away with it. They catch me and then they get away. And she never tells Tony what happens. And everybody wanted me to die. So when I'm at the Soprano Con,
they were trying to whack you at Sopranos Con.
Some people wouldn't even come over to me. It was really scary.
They were just angry at you, looking at you from afar away.
I'm a fireman. Come on, I'm a nice guy.
Mother flower.
But I did win them over eventually.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Well, you're such a nice guy, man.
Yeah,
you know, tough exterior, but a teddy bear.
Yeah. And you know what's funny about that? I'll tell you what's funny. Someone approached me and they go, I don't know if you knew about the 70s, but all in the family, Edith Bunker gets raped. Did you know this?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know this either. And
there's an episode.
There's an episode where she gets raped and she's in the kitchen. This is what the guy told me. And she has like a cake baking in the oven. She takes it out and she smushes it in the guy's face and she runs out of the apartment. Well, the guy who did that to her never worked again in Hollywood. He was hated. Out. He was out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. People loved her so much that guy never worked again. So this guy was like, you're lucky. We like you. You know? Yeah. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. Thanks.
So after Sopranos, you know, this is a big crucial moment in the series. You know, you're one of the most hated men outside of the rest of the monsters on the show. We don't quite judge them, but we do get mad at you. What was next after that? Did you what did you find came next? Was what
after the Sopranos, which I thought was my lucky break because it was the #1 show at the time and I was the most talked about episode. Mm-hmm. There was no social media back then, so I was just waiting for someone to be like, "Who's that guy?" Let's get him in. Nothing happened. I did a few Law and Orders. I started doing TV, SVU and CI, and then I was getting called to do some co-stars in Forever on ABC, and then Louis C.K. called me in for one of his roles. You know, so things started just coming along. Yeah. You know, but that was the Sopranos was big, and The Devil's Own was my first movie, and then this thing with Hustlers came last February, and I was in Disney with my family, and my agent's like, I have an audition. I'm like, well, I can't go. I'm not in New York. And she's like, can you put yourself on self-tape? And I didn't want to do it. And my wife was the one that said, let's do it. And gave the camera to my daughter, Mia, who's 10, and submitted that tape. And from there, they called me back in. From there, I was on hold. And then from there, I got the part.
Wow.
And that was like, I knew it was a big movie. I knew it was going to be a big movie.
Because I remember you called me, you were down there, you're like, yeah, I got to do the self-tape. I don't know if I'm going to, I'm going to do it. I forget why we were talking, but you had texted me about something. And then you're like, I got to do the self-tape. And
yeah, I was looking for like the rooms that they have in the hotels, like, you know, like a convention room.
Yeah.
And I was getting frustrated. My wife's like, big deal. We just moved this furniture over. We'll do it right here.
That's it.
And that was it.
So before we get to Hustlers, right? Did you find that you took a break once you got into the FDNY as a firefighter?
Yeah, I did. I was actually basically just going on auditions. I wasn't taking any acting classes.
Okay.
For like a good 10 years.
But you were still auditioning while you were a firefighter?
Yes.
Okay.
The first year I didn't do it. Okay. After my first year, after probation periods was over, I started doing the acting again.
Got it.
You know, but not taking an acting class. It was your class, Victor, 3 years ago that I started. That I met you and I saw your movie, Stockroom, which was great, and we got to know each other, and I felt a connection with you. And it was your class that got me back, that got my feet wet again, and that's the class that you introduced writing to me because I never used to write.
Right. I'm still waiting for the one-man show, which I think will be great.
I'm still working on it.
Well, I know you mentioned you might tap into some stand-up. So
stand-up too.
That might be a doorway to your one-man show.
I'm afraid of. You know, I'm going to face my fears because it's not easy. Stand-up is not easy.
Did you watch Will Smith's recent special on Facebook?
Yeah, and he got up and did it. But he's Will Smith.
But he's Will Smith,
when
exactly.
You're Will Smith, you could be funny just being funny. You know?
Yeah, it's like I think Jerry Seinfeld when he did that that movie, The Comedian.
Right.
And he was like, I want to try out these jokes and I don't know if the audience is going to like it. But the problem he was running into is that he was Jerry Seinfeld. So it didn't matter what he said. And I liked his honest response about it. I think he was saying, you know, he couldn't tell the difference between what people actually found funny and what was just excitement because he was in the room.
Right.
You know? So that's great, man. I look forward to that when you start doing stand-up, and I will definitely be in the house, man, supporting you.
That'll be fun.
That'll be really awesome.
But that's going to be one of my goals for 2020. It's going to be on my bucket list to do it.
Hustlers comes along. Talk to me about, you submit the tape,
Right.
you send this audition, you're back at Disney, you're with your family,
Right.
not even thinking about it anymore.
God,
I don't know if you are thinking about it.
No, I'm not. I just forgot about it.
Yeah.
Got back 3 days later, get the call. They want you for a call back.
Wow.
So now I'm going, and it's all about, in this business too, is relationship with your casting directors and everybody else. Never burn your bridges. Always be polite. Always be professional. Seriously.
Did you know this casting director?
Yes.
Already for years?
Gail Keller.
Gail Keller is the best.
Gail, I love you.
I love Gail.
Gail has cast me in my last 4 projects.
I knew Gail when she was casting for Special Victims Unit.
Yes.
That's how far back I remember her. Yeah. And she's so sweet.
She's great.
Really cool.
She's great. And so she got me Crashing. She got me Louis C.K. They called me back for Hustlers. Now I'm like more interested in like, what is this, a new show, a new TV show? Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, it's a movie. It's going to movies. And it's basically based about, you know, the life of these strippers who in 2008, you know, had to do what they had to do to make ends meet. And I play the lead detective. So I get that. I do this audition again on camera, and then I'm on hold. Now they start, are you available these dates? They give you a list of dates.
Right.
Yes, I am. Of course, you know.
Now they become challenging because, you know, you're obviously FDNY Lieutenant.
Yeah.
You still got to work.
I still got to work. So I'm looking at the dates that were available, and most of them I could do, but the days I was working in the fire department, I would have to switch with someone. I would get them off. But I already knew ahead of time I could get these days off, so I said I'm available.
Good stuff.
And then I got the call that I was on hold, which is like, now what? You know? And it's between me and who knows? I don't know. And then finally they said, congratulations, you got the part.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So you're the detective that brings Jennifer Lopez down.
Yeah.
And the rest of her crew.
Yeah.
What was it like working with her?
Working with Jennifer was, she's great. She's great. But I knew I was going to have a scene with her. I knew I was going to see her. And my wife gave me the idea. She was like, you should get her something. I'm like, what are you going to get her? What can you get someone that has everything? You know?
Yeah.
But then I was like, you know what? Maybe for the kids, I could get firefighter t-shirts for the kids, you know? So I did. I got firefighters for her kids, and then for Alex's kids, and then for her and Alex, you know? So that's in between the takes. I said to her, I have something I want to share with you. And I told her, and then she's like, well, what is it? I go, well, besides being an actor, I'm a lieutenant with the fire department. I know you're from the Bronx. Figure you want to represent New York's bravest. Here's a couple of t-shirts for Max and Emma, and I started going off, and she was really touched by that.
That's awesome. That's awesome because it's very personal. It's you sharing a piece of who you are.
Great. And my wife's humble. A big fan. So when I finally met her on the red carpet and she met my wife, that was magical.
Did your wife explode? Because I know she was dying to meet her.
Yeah, her head exploded. Yeah, she was dying to meet her. But no, it was great. And they had a moment. They had a connection between her and J-Lo. So, and I witnessed it. So I was like very happy that she was so genuinely nice.
That's nice.
And she felt my wife's, my wife was telling you, we emulate you. It's amazing what you do, So many people admire you. And she felt the generosity. So it was great.
You got this good, successful energy happening. You're feeling good. You're feeling like after all these years of hard work, I'm arriving at playing roles that put me more in a positive light, and I'm having a great time. And then suddenly you're invited to play with Judd Apatow in his next project.
Once again, Gail Keller.
Gail Keller.
You see?
The best.
That's what I mean.
Gail, if you're listening, you are the best.
No, seriously. And that was, and she even said to me, if this Jennifer Lopez didn't work out, she goes, I have another one that I think you'd be great for. And it was that one. And then that one I'm playing a fireman. So it's like art imitating life or life imitating art, whatever you want to call it. And that was great because I worked with Judd Apatow in Crashing.
Right. That's right. So did he remember you from Crashing?
Well, yeah. Well,
because sometimes when you play, you know, when you do like day player stuff, or if you just have a couple of things here and there, they don't quite, you know, they remember you, but
no.
But sometimes they do.
The day I'm meeting Judd Apatow for the second callback to meet him in the office to talk about this project, I get a Facebook reminder that 3 years ago today I was filming Crashing, directed by Judd Apatow.
Wow.
I got this 10 minutes before I walk into his office.
Yeah.
So when I walk into his office and he says, "How you doing, Judd Apatow?" I go, "Hi, Mario Polit." I'm like, my head spinning, and I just said, "Do you want to hear something crazy?" I don't know if you know about social media, but they remind you of what you did 3 years ago. You know, on days that you did on this day. I said, "You know what you were doing 3 years ago?" And he looks at me like, "What I was doing 3 years ago?" I go, "You were directing me in Crashing today on the day I'm walking into your office to meet you to talk about this other project."
Wow.
How crazy is that? And then he goes, "What did you do in Crashing?" And I said, "I'm the one that's walking with the girlfriend, and I get the flyer for a comedy club." And I said, "Fuck comedy, right?"
That was great.
And he remembered once I told him that. He goes, "Dude, that was great."
That's awesome.
So now he goes, "How's it going?" So I'm totally relaxed, and I'm like, my hands behind my head.
Yeah.
It's great. I just hit 20 years in the fire department. I just did this movie with Jennifer Lopez, and we're just talking. I'm like, and now I'm here with you.
The ingredients were right at this point in your career.
It was amazing.
It's like, how could I not cast him?
The universe aligned.
He's the real deal.
I believe, I really felt like something was happening.
That's great, man.
Crazy.
So did they look to you as a consultant as well?
For a little bit, yeah. But they had someone on.
They had somebody. Okay.
That I was friends with, that I knew from the job.
Wow.
So no, and then and that movie comes out 2020, June 19th of 2020.
Wow.
So I have another
thing to look forward to.
Yeah, that's going to be in the
as
movies.
You're pursuing more jobs in this business, and so you have. When do you think you'll retire from the FDNY?
That's a good question. I'm thinking, what's another 4 years?
I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, I put it out to the universe, right? Probably
you get back to work and they're like, "Oh, so you're leaving at this point, huh?"
Probably 2024.
I like how you say
2024.
Not quite clear.
I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens, like I said. The great thing about the job that I have with the fire department is I can also take a leave of absence if I wanted to, with no pay. If something came along, like a series regular or something, I don't know where it's going to go, But it's nice having that 20 in your back. You have it in your back pocket. You take your day by day.
That's great. And just tell us a little bit about the movie with Judd Apatow. What's the name of it? What does it deal with? What is it about?
So basically the movie is called Staten Island. It's loosely based on Pete Davidson's life, whose father was a firefighter who died in 9/11, but they're not making it 9/11 related. They're just making it like his father died in the line of duty.
Got it.
And it's loosely based
on... And they're from Staten Island?
Pete Davidson's from Staten Island.
Okay.
And Marissa Tomei plays his mom, and
great.
There's speaking of comedians, Bill Burr's in it, and Steve Buscemi's in it, of course. And we play the firefighters. He comes to live within the firehouse for a couple of weeks, and he sees the camaraderie, and he starts understanding what his father did for a living, because he was like 6 years old when his father died, and so he starts admiring the camaraderie, the brotherhood. He starts seeing what his father did. It's a really touching story too. It's good. Wow. It's gonna pull your heartstrings, but it's gonna be funny too.
That's great, man.
Yeah,
it's really great.
Looking forward to
so June
19th,
2020,
Father's Day weekend.
Oh, great! Yeah, I got something to do that weekend.
Yeah, come on.
And then come check you out.
Come and check it out.
Yeah, maybe I can go with you that weekend. I didn't get a chance to do it with Hustlers, but
no, definitely.
I'd like to celebrate with you this time.
I'm thinking about maybe having it in St. George's Theater in Staten Island.
Oh yeah,
sits like 400 or 500 people.
That's actually where I filmed that thing with Al Pacino.
Oh, you did?
Years ago.
With the train scene.
Not the train scene. He's trying to get into the theater, and it was that theater they used. But I actually used to live for about 5 years. I lived like 10 minutes away from that theater.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful theater, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's big too.
Gorgeous. Have you been to it?
No.
It's gorgeous. No. Beautiful inside. All right. So a couple questions before we wrap up this interview for you. These are some questions that actors think about. Okay. So you've gone in for the audition. All right. You leave the audition. What do you do after the audition?
I cry. No. I beat myself up. No. lately now what I do is I walk away and I put the sides in the garbage and I just walk away. In the past, I've beaten myself up too many times. You know, oh, why did I do that? I should have done this. I should have done that. You think it's going to go one way because you rehearsed it a certain way in your head, and then it never goes. So basically now what I do is I go into the auditions. I'm prepared. I make sure I know my sides, my lines, their lines, and I bring a part of myself as me, Mario, into the character, how I would be reacting, but as the character, but with my experience of my life, bring it to realness for me and for the room.
Sure.
And then I walk out and I let go like God.
So you finally just let it go.
Since I've been doing that, things have been coming.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So that's what I tell people, you know, be yourself and let it go. And something that Victor told me when I first started taking his classes, you look into that camera right there and you say, you got no power over me, but to yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
You said that.
That's my mantra.
That's what I started doing.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, you know, they're here to see me. I'm not here to see you.
Yeah, because you're at home and you know you're connected and you've prepared, and then you show up to that room, and for some reason that little piece of technology just throws you completely off, and you start doing something different.
Even other stuff, like when all right, so I get a call back. Let me see what this guy did. I look up at the director, and I'm like, oh my God. Now what happens? The nerves gets the best of me. I'm not me.
Right.
Now I'm all nervous because I'm worried about, I want to get this part.
Right.
Sabotage yourself. So don't do that. You know?
So what's a good piece of advice? You get the call back. How should you treat the call back?
Well, yeah, treat the call back as if it's your last role of your life. That's how I look at it. Be the best that you can be. And don't, it's hard to say nerve. Use your nerves. Like you're going to be nervous regardless, but use it. Use it in the scene. Use it for what you need to do, you know? Nervous energy and an excitement energy are the same energies, only reverse if you really look at it. So you just flip it.
Yeah, because a lot of times when we feel, I've had this conversation before, and actually my teacher, Cruz, talked to me about this. She said, you know, that anxiety, that anxious feeling that you have, a lot of times it's not anxiety, it's excitement. You can't wait to get there to be a part of what's happening in that room. So you think something's wrong, and it's not negative, it's positive.
Right.
So you kind of have to,
that's exactly right.
You know, kind of check in with that. Any last piece of advice for new folks who are just starting out, folks who want to get into acting? Anything you want to share with them?
Well, you know, it's funny when people ask me, or they tell me they want to be an actor. I ask them, well, what are you doing? You know, and some of them are like, oh, nothing. You know, and I'm like, well, to be an actor, you could be writing your own stories. You know, taking acting classes, be active, work on your craft yourself. You know, I mean, we all want to be something, but I really believe in the power of the mind. And I've had. My wife made me aware of this, and she proved it to me when I started getting these roles, like the Deuce and stuff like that. I'm like, how great is this? I got the Deuce, and my wife's like, babe, I'm not surprised. You manifested this. You started putting your energy back into your acting. You're studying. You're going to school. You're getting auditions, and you're booking it. You're making it happen. Yeah, and it's true. Your thought creates your life. You know, and now that I'm in my 50s, I'm more into meditating. I'm more into being present. I'm more into gratitude. Always give thanks for what you have. First 3 things in the morning, I always give thanks to 3 things, different things every day when I wake up. And it really, I believe in the power of the mind. You know, thought will create your life, change your paradigm, change your life. You know, and lately I've been getting a lot of messages that gear towards that mentality. So
sure. Well, listen,
and I do it with meditation.
I just want to say, you know, congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
And when this episode, you know, airs, it's going to be around your birthday. So happy birthday, and continue blessings on this wonderful journey for you, man. A lot more blessings to come. Honestly, you work very hard, and it's well deserved. So
no, I appreciate that.
All right, brother.
All right.
Where can folks find you if they want to follow you?
If they want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at mpolit13. Facebook, it's Mario Polit actor. Or my webpage is www.mariopolitactor.com.
You had a moment. You're like, "What's my website?"
And
that's it. All right, folks. This was another episode of the Victor Cruz Acting Studio Podcast. Had a really good time hanging out, my brother Mario.
Thanks for having me, man.
My brother, anytime. We'll definitely have you back when the film for Judd Apatow comes out, maybe right before it comes out, so we can help promote it. And folks, subscribe if you have not subscribed. This podcast is available on Google Podcasts, iTunes, YouTube, and Spotify. So check us out. Stay with us, and we'll see y'all real soon.